Hello, and welcome to CEO Authors, the show where leaders share their stories, strategies, and ideas that drive success. I'm your host, Carl Taft, and today I'm excited to welcome. Hello, and welcome to CEO Authors, the show where we explore the ideas leaders share with the world and the experiences that shape them. I'm your host, Carl Taft, and today I'm joined by Will Lukang. Will is a change agent and seasoned C suite executive who has spent more than 30 years leading corporate teams. Growing up in a family retail business and later refining his skills through formal leadership training, he learned that leadership isn't a fixed style, but a dynamic attitude shaped by experience. In his book, Seed of Leadership, Will draws on personal stories of overcoming self doubt and cultural expectations to show that integrity, authenticity, and mentoring are true foundations of effective leadership. Today, as an agile coach, diversity champion, and mental health advocate, he nurtures talent through servant leadership and believes we make a greater impact when we help others grow. We'll explore how his life experiences shaped his approach to developing leaders and why he believes planting the right seeds can transform individuals and organizations. Will, welcome.
Thank you, Carl. Looking forward to our conversation. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks so much. Well, to begin, why don't you tell, for our listeners, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
My journey is a bit one of which I faced a lot of challenge when I was young, being a middle child, and at times being a child is really tough because my parents they didn't have a lot of money, so they really focused on academic excellence. And for some reason, when I was born or when I was little, when they were pouring the academic excellent talent, I probably had a cup. I had a cup, small cup. So I wasn't as good as my brother and sister, but I'm really proud of them. And because of that, I faced a lot of headwinds. My parents didn't think I was good enough. My parents didn't think I have a future. So I have to really fight, fought upstream throughout my childhood to kind of learn what I want to do. But once I figure out what I want to do, I really focus and hunker down and just keep on going about what I need to do to get to where I need to be. So I end up being a software developer. I love solving problems as a software developer, spent 33 and a half years of doing that, leading organization. But it comes with a lot of sacrifice, and part of which is learning how to lead people. And I think that's the one thing that's truly important as I go through my journey is your technical ability is only one component of it. You might think that what you know is good enough, but knowing and caring about your people and learning to work with people is more impactful than just you adding value by yourself.
Yeah, you say I take it like an okay student, but to be a software developer or software engineer, that's a pretty heavy load.
I don't know. I think I'm okay. I'm good. I'm good.
Okay, okay, great. Well, so how did you make the switch, or how did you make this transition from being in software development to leadership? How'd that come about?
Well, I had the opportunity to lead. I was given an opportunity to lead the team of software developer at one of the company I was working for, primarily because I know the in and out of the application. I worked on it once a few years ago, and they brought me back to lead a team to actually rebuild the application. And then when they brought me back in, they gave me a leadership opportunity, and I didn't know how to be a leader, but I said, I know the application, I know what we need to get done, and let's get right on and do it. I and we had a big task ahead of us. We were given like 8 months to deliver the project, and we in fact delivered 6 weeks ahead of schedule. But in spite of that success, a lot of the people, when I was given a new project, a lot of the people that worked with me before didn't want to work with me. I was asking them, I was waiting, like, they're gonna come and knock on my door and said, I want to be on your project because the last project was very successful. No one knocked on my door. And I start asking one by one, hey, can we have a conversation? And they're like, you're really good technically, but you just cared about the project. You didn't care about what's going on with us. You didn't really ask a lot of our opinion. And we are experienced people. Essentially, you run it the way you want to run it. Yeah, we're successful, but we didn't feel good about the process. And that lies the fact that I learned I wasn't a good leader. I wasn't a good leader. It was a hard pill to swallow. It's like having a trophy saying you win a tournament and then your teammate don't want to play with you anymore.
Right, right. Well, you beat me to the punch. So I imagine this is this pivotal moment that you're talking about
Yes,
going from like
yes, it is the
engineering to
pivotal moment for me.
okay. So what came out of that at the end?
Number one is accepting the truth that I didn't have it all together. I thought I got it. I
Yeah.
thought I had it all together. I thought I was confident, young leader who wants to prove people that I could do it because every one of my team was in their 30s, 40s, and 50s. And I thought that I could get it done eh, with everything I know, but realizing that I wasn't a good leader. I wasn't listening to them. It's painful. It was very
Yeah.
painful, but I said to myself, I don't want to waste a good lesson. While it is painful, there was a lesson that I need to learn. And I
Yeah.
said to
Yeah.
myself, I'm not going to waste this good lesson and ignore six people's opinion of me, which they're all the same, by the way. They're all the
Right.
same,
Right.
right? So I said, I'm going to hunker down. I'm going to learn. I'm going to try to be a better leader. I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to figure it out and I'm going to come back stronger than before.
That's amazing. You know, because I mean, we were talking about this before the show, right? I don't think there's too many. Well, it's not as common as I would have hoped it would be, right? Which is you say, "Oh, the past is the past. I got a clean canvas. I can move forward." I mean, but yet you did that. Is that something that you think was that an environmental thing? Is that how you're brought up? Like, what do you think gave you those traits?
To me, because I went through a lot of like what I called failure from meeting my parents' expectation. And I felt over the years when I was a child, going to a test, I worry so much that I'm not gonna get 100 and my parents will be not happy about it. 100 or nothing, right? It's like
Yeah,
all bets are off. And the stress of not getting 100 eats me up. And I actually not perform. I don't perform well because of that. I'll get like 95, I get 90, I get 85. And those numbers are not good. Either the A or you're nothing. So I realized when I keep on holding on to the pain and the failure, I keep on repeating them. And I said to myself, I can't look forward without if I keep on looking back. And over the years, I said, I kept on doing it. And I don't know why. And one day I said, you know what? I should just learn to remember what happened and learn from it and see what I could apply in the next thing that I want to do. So the next few tests, I tried not to think about failing or not try to think
yeah,
about not getting 100. And
yeah.
even though I did get 100 afterwards, but I just told myself I need to move forward. I cannot hold on to the past failure because I'll never get out of it. I'll totally never get out of it. It's going to eat me alive.
But yeah, interesting. I'm listening to you, right? And I have children. You have children. I have one in high school, one in college, and that idea of like it's not good enough. Like you just said, like, oh, I was okay, got an 85. I mean, and some under some people's lenses, that's good, right? And that's
Yeah,
good
yeah, yeah,
enough,
yeah.
right? So I mean, is that really a failure, or is that taking it in perspective, or
It's
you
taking
know?
in perspective based on my parents' lens because they were poor. They didn't have anything. And
Okay,
I remember when I was young, my mom and dad said, you all three need to graduate college. That's the
yeah,
only way you're going to get a good future.
yeah,
You all need to graduate at the top of your class because that's the only way I know you're going to be successful. And I honestly don't blame them when I look back. Well, if that's what you know better but you really want your kids to be successful, do it. That's the way you know. But that's the way I learned over my journey that
yeah,
that's not how it works, but that's what they know. And I respect and I really appreciate that.
yeah,
All
yeah,
three of us graduated college and we all have professional job. And I'm really thankful for that
yeah.
experience and opportunity.
Great. Well, you've said that integrity and authenticity, are very strong. Well, these themes are very strong in
Yep.
your work, right? How do you translate those values into maybe daily leadership behavior?
I think integrity is doing the right thing whether anyone's watching or not, right?
Yeah,
I think
sure.
to me, not compromising. If someone wants to do something that you don't believe in, yeah, if that meant that you're not gonna get, not gonna move ahead of your career, fine. I'm fine with that. And I
Mhm.
did that over my career. I don't want to hang out and smoke with people. I don't want to go out and drink with people every week. And I told my boss, I said, I don't really want to do this. And I was told hey, if you don't know how to do this, you're not going to go far. And I stood there and now like telling myself, well, if that's what it takes to get there, I'm okay. I'm not getting there. There's
Yeah.
probably another path somewhere, maybe somewhere like in the woods around the world, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'll figure it out. And
Yeah.
yes, as I told my wife like a month ago, well, if I start smoking and I start drinking, I could have probably be very successful, but I'm not going to be very happy with myself because I didn't lead based on my core values.
Core values. Yeah. Makes a lot of sense. So is there ever a chance, like, do you ever feel conflicted? Like, is there any like reconciliation that needs to happen between like the need for decisive leadership and, an emphasis on humility and empathy?
I think I focus on what I call character architecture, right? There are things that you cannot really sacrifice, right? You cannot sacrifice your values. You
Yeah.
cannot sacrifice, like, I don't want to take people's credit. And I've seen that many times along the way. I'm
Yeah.
not going to do that. I'm not going to, if I don't agree with something, I'll tell you in a polite way because I think that's the right thing. But sometimes it's probably going to work against my favor, but I'm okay. But if you establish what I call the character framework and you follow it, it's not going to be easy. There's going to be some repercussion, but it's up to you to decide, are you okay to live with that? And to
Yeah.
me, one of the things that's important to me is to be able to sleep well at night.
Yeah, for sure. I've lived that like that. I've had I've had a few conflicting moments in my career. I think we all have, right? But at some
Yeah.
point, you just got to be happy with yourself and be okay that at judgment, whether that's yourself looking in the mirror or some higher power, that you have to be okay with your actions, right? What we do here on Earth.
Yep.
Um, I want to talk about your new book. Congratulations, by the way.
Oh, thank
That's
you.
just out recently, right? Is
Yes.
it Career Breakthrough? Is that
Yeah.
what it's called?
Career breakthrough. Thank you very
Yeah,
much. Career
yeah,
breakthrough
absolutely.
playbook.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about the premise of that book and where maybe the catalyst for the idea came from.
The catalyst I'm very passionate about. Once I pivot from being just a technical person to be a servant leader. One of the things that's important to me is helping people grow and develop. I know it's hard to do that in context of achieving the company's goal and objective, but I always try to marry them together the best I could because I've noticed that when you work with people who know you care about their future or you care about their career, they're so committed, and I've seen it over and over and over again. And time again, people come back. Even when I don't longer work in that company, they still come back and talk to me about it. And to me, I invested so much time in mentoring and coaching people throughout my career. Even my wife often complains about it. People will call me at 11 o'clock at night having like a crisis at work, and they will ask me for my advice or opinion or just have a conversation. And to me, that's important. That's important to be that phone me a friend when I needed the help.
Yeah.
And to me, it's
Yeah.
important. So I really invested so much in my career. So when I was about to leave my corporate work, I said I want to create an event called Career Breakthrough. It's a virtual webinar. So I did that, and I invited a couple of the guests on my podcast to be a speaker. And then once we're done with the event, because they gave me a gift of time, I was having a call with them, thanking them for the opportunity to actually be able to
Yeah.
host a webinar, and also for them to actually be a guest, giving me a gift of time. So I was asking them, what's one thing on your bucket list that you want to accomplish? And a couple of them said, hey, you have a book published, you're publishing in December of 2024. We'd love to be an author. And I was like kidding. You could do an ebook, 30 page. You could do that. Like, I don't want to hand an ebook to my children and my son. They're
Mm,
gonna laugh at me. And I said, you know what? I think we could write a book. I said the webinar we created is is perfect for writing a book. And that's what we started a project. We started in November of last year, and I organized the project. I invited five other people to be co-author of the book, and we focus on topic like you mentioned. You have high emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence. I didn't learn that until the second half of my career. I should have learned that early on. It's vital, right? And then stress management is another topic we covered. We covered about public speaking. I wish I knew that early on too. Networking, your people network when they're looking for job and leadership. So those are the, and the one big
yeah.
one that is really career mastery. How do you manage your career? So we wrote those 6 topics into a book and we publish it. And that gives the 4 people on our group the author credibility now, which is they go do their talk every week. And at the end of the talk, people come to them and talk to them and ask them, "Do you have a book?" "Yeah, I have a book." And I'm so happy for them because now it fulfilled one of their wish on their dream.
Love it. It sounds like there's a lot of good nuggets in there and things that I've
Yeah.
learned over the years, but not because anybody said you need to do this. Kind of like your journey, trial and error, and you're like, oh man, maybe I should figure that out. Oh man, maybe I should become a better speaker. Maybe I should figure out how to connect with people better, and on and on and on, right? And how do I plan my career? How do I go from A to B to C, right?
Yeah.
If my BHAG or my goal is here and I'm here, how do I bridge that gap? So that sounds fantastic. Um, excuse me. Back to leadership. I just want to touch on diversity because I know you're a diversity, inclusion, and champion here. So, in your experience, though, how does embracing diversity and inclusion shape an organization's performance and culture? What would that be? Because I can tell you, like, there's going to be a lot of naysayers out there, right? Listeners that are going to say, like, what's the value of that? And it doesn't show up on my P&L, or I can't track it, right? Tell me about that.
To me, the one thing that I observe is the way we come up with ideas and the way we have our dialogue
Mm-hmm.
and at times argument,
Sure.
right? Having people from different walks of life, different ethnicity come together and being able to see things in their lens, not mine, because I might have a different lens. Yes, I have more experience. I've, I've, I've been in this industry for many years, but at times being able to learn to hear and see, willing to see it from other
Yeah.
people's perspective, I think is invaluable. And many times we see that we develop better solutions. We come up with better approach.
Yeah.
And people are more committed because they all felt their voice were heard and their input were heard by the team, even though sometimes the outcome or the action isn't part of what they suggested, but everyone's voice were heard. And to me, that's immensely powerful because as I
Yeah.
traverse my career, there are many times I don't have the answer. And I
Yep.
think as a leader, being authentic, like you mentioned before, authenticity, is being comfortable to say, "Hey team, I actually don't really know this particular topic,
Right.
and I need all of you to help me figure it out."
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah. There.
hard. It's very
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah. There's something there for sure. I mean, I've had experiences in the past where literally talking to employees that English was a second language, and maybe they made $15 an hour, decades ago, assembling some part. But if you listen to them and you just took their input because they know their job better than anybody else,
Yeah,
I mean, I translated that to like a $5 million savings to the company, right?
there
Like
you
that was my
go.
first job. So just having that idea and then propagating, right, or promoting rather, where everybody has a voice and it's okay. They're not going to get their heads chopped off, right, or their hands cut off if
Yeah.
they speak up or raise their hands, right? I think can provide value. But at the same time, right, I would say that there's also this balance, almost from a leadership and management of expectation standpoint, right? It's when you're in DEFCON 5 and you're trying to the receptionist should not talk to the surgeon during surgery.
Oh yeah,
Right
there's
there.
SOP, right? There's rule of the game.
Yeah, there's a time and place, but
Yes.
to know that hey, when the doctor's available, I can do this, and yeah. So okay, very very good. Middle child, right? I think I've seen that in a podcast.
I laugh whenever I hear that middle
Is
child.
there I married a middle child because I'm an only child. That's how I stayed married. She copes with me. But do you think there was some I don't know, family dynamics, personal wiring, just from that stereotype of being a middle kid that's helped you be the leader that you are?
What I learned as a middle child is you learn to adapt to situations because
Agreed.
especially if you're not the favorite in the family. My brother and my sister happened to be the favorite. My brother because the eldest and the first grandchild in the clan, and my sister's the youngest and a baby daughter. So,
Yeah.
and I knew
Yeah.
from the onset it's going to be an uphill battle, but I realized that I learn to work with people more. I don't I don't have the the desire to like demand when I was young. I need to have this, I need to have that.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
willing to work with people. In fact, I probably turn out to be a better team player because I know I don't have the favor and I need to work through it and I need
Yeah.
to earn it. And I keep on just working around and making sure I have harmony across the board.
That's good. Yeah. Yeah. For sure. So maybe along those lines, what reflective exercises or habits do you recommend for leaders who want to maybe align their actions with their values?
That's a very good question. I actually have a habit every weekend on Sunday. I spend 30 minutes in my quiet place, which is this office, often the time.
Yeah.
And I would sit here and think through what worked throughout the week. What are the highlights of my week? Which interaction or conversation I had that were really great? And why are they great? Because it made me feel great? No, that's not it. What outcome that came out of it that were great? Because I want to be able to learn and replicate them. And then there are situations that kind of went south or didn't kind of work out the way I expected, I also take a lot of time in learning what is it I could do to actually improve those. Because at the end of the day, there's a lot of opportunity for me to improve the situation and the touch point in the future. And when I have that opportunity the next time around, I make sure I try to implement what I learned. And that 30 minutes
Mm,
reflection is very important for me because it starts my week right. Because I did spend time reflecting.
yeah.
So the 30 minutes reflection, I use that all the time. And I actually recommend that to any of my client, my
Yeah. I
coaching
love it.
client, my mentee. I
Love
always
it.
tell them, give yourself the 30 minutes quiet time.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's so important, both from a maybe a Kaizen standpoint, right? A
Yes.
continuous improvement standpoint, but also just I think a lot of leaders, I mean, I'm guilty of this as well, don't take enough time, right? We're always going from task to task and, take the hill to take the next hill, as
Yeah.
opposed to how did that go? How can I get better? Let's reflect and have some calm. I mean, it sounds like that's what you're promoting.
Yes, sometimes actually it's odd because many years ago I wasn't like that. I was like you said, climb the next hill, climb the. You're sort of because of the environment you're in, you end up being programmed to do the next
Mm,
thing, to do the next thing. To it's like you don't have a moment to like reflect,
yeah.
and and
Yeah.
maybe in a short period of time that was healthy because adrenaline
Yeah.
going,
Yeah.
but it's not sustainable. I realized over time it wasn't sustainable. I wasn't as sharp as I would like to be. I'm not managing my energy at all. Like I'm just grinding. And you could only be on a hamster wheel for so long. I don't think I could be there for so long.
Yeah. Yeah. So as you were talking about reflection and quiet time, it made me think about gratitude. Do you spend time thinking about your blessings, thinking about what you're grateful for?
Absolutely. It's part of my daily micro habit. Every morning when I wake up in the morning, the first thing I do is make my side of the bed. I'm married, my wife's still sleeping. I'll get up at the same time every day. I would make my side of the bed. And why that's important, I do that because if you come home and you have a bad day, coming home and going to a made bed, it's the best feeling on earth, right? To me, I felt that I have that feeling like, wow, I'm going to make bed. And number two, what I do is I do my gratitude prayer. I fill my mind with gratitude of being given a gift of a new day that I don't deserve. As a sinner, I don't deserve. And I felt that I want to thank the one above. Thank you. I woke up today.
Mm,
Some
mm,
people out there didn't wake up today, but you chose me to wake up today. Thank you. I'm going to do my best to honor what you provided me. And then the third thing I would do is I think I took it up from something I had read from a Japanese article, drinking a glass of water. And then after that, I will spend 30 minutes exercising. I have a kettlebell
mm.
dumbbell in my bathroom, and I would do
Okay.
the 30 minutes exercise. And those are my four micro habits. I've been doing it for over 3 years.
Wow. Wow. Did you notice a change in yourself, your behavior, anything like that, or just
I think the
does it?
mindset. The
Yeah.
mindset, you're more energized. You start from like a gas tank, you have 100% morning, and of course at the end of the day it could be depleted to like 50 or 30.
Right.
That's okay. But I was aware that I want to start with a lot of energy in the morning, with a
Yeah.
lot of focus, with a lot of like
Yeah.
appreciation,
Yeah.
and it helps me a lot. I get to a lot of calls and people are like, yeah, why are you so happy? Well, like, why you have so much energy? I loved having conversation with you because every time I had a conversation with you, I walk away feeling energized. And I was like, I don't know, maybe I'm an energizer bunny, but I don't know. I don't act
Yeah.
like I
Yeah.
don't like I don't like bang this
Good,
this
good
cymbal.
energy, good
But
aura,
yeah,
what have you. Yeah.
and to me, it's and when I keep on doing that, I feel like I'm starting with my best intention for the day,
Yeah.
and for that,
Yeah.
I'm very thankful.
I think listening to you, that's a theme I have is intention, and and that's something that we can maybe talk about at another time, because we're running out of time here. So a couple more questions. With the rapid change of emerging technologies, right? How do you see the fundamentals of leadership evolving? Are there seeds leaders should be planting now to anticipate, the next 5 years, let's
The
say?
first one I think is you mentioned this is your expertise, EQ. You need to develop your
Yeah.
emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
I know AI is here to stay. I'm a technologist. I love technology.
Yep.
AI would always be here. We should complement AI. As I always
Hmm.
tell people when I talked about AI, I always said human plus AI. Human first, use AI, and human validate
Yep.
the output of AI. So to me, that's very important. So no matter what evolution or the next evolution that comes up, if we develop our emotional intelligence, we'll be better equipped to handle situation that we're dealing with. The other part is creativity. Creativity, although we said Nano Banana could actually create an amazing graphics, human is even far more creative. We need to
Yeah.
exercise our ability to create something or make something, whether it's perfect or not, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it's something that we as human are given that gift of creativity,
Yeah.
and we need to like exercise that, and those two are the ones that to me are quite important as we move forward. Because and the last thing is staying curious, learning, staying curious, be willing to ask questions when no one wants to ask questions, which I do this a lot in my job. I would ask when someone's talking about something and I don't understand, I would say, can I ask a question, because I'm not sure about what it meant. And then the person would try to explain it, and I
Yeah.
would see a lot of people nodding their head. And I was like, why did no one ask this question? Why do I have to ask? Because sometimes people are afraid to be labeled as, hey, you're not smart, you're asking a stupid question. To me, I'm okay, I'm stupid,
Yeah.
I'm okay.
Yeah.
As long as I can walk away knowing what we're talking about, I'd rather be stupid. And I'll for that, I'll learn better.
Yeah, I love that. I was just speaking to an entrepreneur who I know and respect. Very, I think very highly of him, and we were having a conversation today, as a matter of fact. And he's like, Carl, you know what the key is? Caring immensely, but not giving a shit as to what comes out of that. So almost to your point, right? It's like, I'm curious. I'm going to ask. I don't care, right? And that's what made me think about that. So, we have what I call a tradition here, where the guest prior asks a question of the next guest, and I think this is very timely. But he basically said, I'm looking at my notes here, so I'm going off screen here. Um, what do you think will define the next generation of leaders? And I think you touched on some of this, but I'd like to. I think there's a little bit of a nuance change to that. Anything you'd like to add?
What would define the next generation of leader? The next generation of leader is someone who understands the multi-generational culture. We're living in a world where literally three or four g- generation are working together. And I think the next best leader should be someone that spent time in understand what make them come to work and what motivate them, because it's not the same thing. It's not the same thing for everyone. And if
Agreed.
we lead our team the same way, because of what we learn, we are going to face a lot of challenges, because
Yeah. Be some
every
misalignment.
generation,
Yeah.
every generation have different needs and wants, and they're motivated differently.
Okay. Okay. So, as you know, CEO authors podcast about leaders sharing their ideas. We presumably are going to have another guest. I hope we have another guest. What question might you have for them, Will,
My
in a
question
vacuum?
for the next guest would be, what's the one lesson you learned that helped you propel your career to the next level?
Love it. Thank you for that. This has been great. But before I let you go, what's next? Are there themes that you're
What's
exploring in
next?
your work? And yeah, go
We're
ahead.
actually starting book two.
Okay.
As I mentioned during our chat before the call,
Yeah. Yeah.
the vision was to create a book, and we did. But the vision, when I was creating the first book, I said I want a 5-book series, and we're tackling different topic. And the topic that we're covering right now, as we're starting the journey, is how do you thrive and succeed in the age of AI?
Oh,
So
fantastic.
be on the lookout for that book. And the third book is about resilience. So I'm starting 2 projects side by side. These are all my hobby. This is not my main business, but these are all my hobby. But I'm starting to work with a couple other folks aside from the people that I had originally, to kind of expand and do book 2 and book 3 side by side.
Love that. Will, I mean, thank you so much for this conversation, for the work you're putting into the world. If our listeners would like to find out more about you, your books, your work, your services, where can they go?
LinkedIn. I'm the only Will Lukang. There are other Lukang there. They're my daughters and my brother,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
Will Lukang, best place to go. You could find all my work. Carl, thank you for your time. It's been an honor to be in your podcast. Truly thankful for this opportunity.
Thanks, Will. It's been a pleasure. And thanks to our listeners for joining us. Be sure to tune in next time, everyone.
Thank you.